Go. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to my live stream. This is Jacob Cast 2024. Going to do Monday Night Raw review. This is February 16, 2026. We're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. We'll talk about the news and rumors of AEW. But right now, we're going to talk about the WWE. Just want to make sure this is working. So I can go through all the matches here. I don't want to make it too long. I'll make it like an hour and 10 minutes. Just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. My video is sponsored by PlayStation. It's sponsored by Chris Smooth, the Red Brand. It's sponsored by my favorite podcasters and YouTubers, Solomon, JD from New York, Fightful Pro Wrestling, and other podcasters I know of. Okay. Alright, now we're going to go to Monday Night Raw. And now I can talk about some of these matches on here, man. There's not a lot of matches on here. Now, the show opened up with LA Knight confronting the Vision, Heyman, Bronson, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory. And then the Uso came out. So I think the opener led into a six-man tag. Yeah, they said it was supposed to be a 3-on-3. Alright. LA Knight versus the Usos. Alright. Again, Theory, Bronson Reed. We got Logan Paul. So that was the opener. That was the six-man tag that we will go over. The other match, I think we had Asuka versus, I think it was Asuka versus Natalia, I believe. Hold on. We did get another qualifying match for the women to see who will be in the women's chamber. Asuka, Bayley, and Natty. To see who's gonna qualify in the women's chamber for the women at the chamber pay-per-view. We know that Asuka won. She beat Bayley. Natty. We had a nice face-to-face with CM Punk and Finn Balor. Jay Madonna came back. CM Punk Party T, Judgment Day doesn't need Balor. Now we did get Penta versus Grande Americano. Penta won in a contenders match. He beat Grande Americano, so I guess he'll face Dominic for the IC title, whether it's next week or at the chamber. We'll see what happens there. We've seen Penta go after the IC title so many times lately. He wrestled Dominic how many times for the belt? Is he going to win? We'll have to wait and see. We had a nice face-to-face with AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. They went back and forth to build up their feud for the pay-per-view next week. In 2 weeks. And then we had so next week on Monday, a tribute to AJ Styles. Next Monday. Alright. Okay. Alright. Was there really only 3 matches? Hold on. The main event, Javon Evans and Gunther and Dominic. So Javon Evans had qualified for the men's chamber. I kind of knew that was gonna happen. It it just made sense. All right. So those are like the four matches. Only four matches on the card. Only four matches on the card, man. I don't know what to call this show. But damn, only four matches. The main event was pretty good. Surprised to see Javon Evans win. It just made sense. Because Dallas not going to win it. Dallas doesn't need the IC champion. And there's no reason for Gunther to be in the chamber because now you want to insinuating does he get pinned or submitted? Gunther shouldn't be losing to anyone. I don't think Gunther should be in a title match. I think he should be in a big feud with someone else. Now there were some rumors that Brock might get involved, but he didn't. Dragon Lee got involved and cost Gunther the triple threat match. He cost him the qualifying match, and he had to hit him with the bell. With the bell. So Javon Evans had qualified. He won the newer guy to call them from NXT. So obviously Gunther gonna wrestle Dragon Lee. Okay. Alright. Well, I might want to show y'all some of the podcasters on this show. Here's Stephen Larson.
Not a month ago. He says in a couple weeks he gets another one, not because he deserves it, but because he earned this ass beating I'm about to give him.
So WWE fought to lower Mania tickets.
Did it deserve the ass beating though? Because he was acting like an asshole? I think both would be appropriate. So I don't know. Anyways, he says he jumped me into.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the Mystery Man strikes again. He had to attack the Vision. After the Vision beat the Usos and LA Knight in that six-man tag, that's when the match made an appearance. Whether it was Seth or someone else, he attacked the Vision. He curved out Logan Paul, and he ran into the crowd. Man, they're still holding off on this. Who's the match villain?
Toronto during the last time I can share the ring with AJ Styles.
What's at the chamber? Because February is really about just qualifying for the chamber, setting up a few matches for Elimination Chamber, doing a bit of build for those, and it's not like endless crazy.
What's in the box? WWE not open until the 20th.
One match that was on a lot of our radars was Legend Killer versus Career Killer, Randy Orton versus Gunther. Doesn't feel like that's going to happen now, because if it was, I thought Gunther would qualify and the Gunther and Orton match would be set up in the chamber. So I don't even know how you get to that match at this point. And some people have pointed out that Orton wants to work with Aleister Black, and they might be doing that program at WrestleMania. Black and Orton. That would be great. So that leaves Gunther needing to do something. Like I said, Jericho is 104 years old. If he comes back, maybe it's just one match. Maybe he's back for a match, and then he's an on-screen character of some kind. I mean, maybe he comes back and has a retirement match with Gunther. You know, he comes out on Raw after the Elimination Chamber, makes his appearance. You know, or maybe he's confronted right there by Gunther, and then it's Gunther and Jericho at WrestleMania, and Gunther's like, you put your career on the line, and now you add Jericho to the list. Goldberg, Cena, AJ, Jericho. Just an idea. What does Gunther do? I mean, Gunther and Jericho would be a weird match to do at WrestleMania. It would be an ugly match. the only way I think I could tolerate a match that is that horrifically unappealing and unattractive physically is if Jericho's career was on the line. So maybe that's what they do. I don't know. Again, I need to hear from y'all. If Jericho's in the box, how?
Perfect combo pizza side.
How much?
$19.90.
Alright, come on now, damn it.
Combo pizza. What am I? I know. In the chamber, you'd have. To this supposed road to WrestleMania. When does it kick in exactly? It's almost March. Still waiting. The good news, though, is that they did not do the one thing I was hoping that they would not do, which is put Gunther in the Elimination Chamber. Javon Evans is going to the Chamber. It was Javon Evans, it was Gunther, it was Dominic Mysterio. That was our main event tonight on the show. And I was surprised there were so many people who actually were just convinced that Gunther was going to the Chamber. I can understand some people feeling that way. But like I'm looking in the live chat and everything, and everyone was just so sure that, Gunther was going to go. And it just seemed to me like the Dragon Lee story was right there. I don't know why people thought that it was going to work out that way, but that would have been a very big mistake had Gunther gone to the Chamber, especially if he was not going to win it. There was no point in him going to the Chamber, and when you have a triple threat match like this, you don't have to beat Gunther directly. In the Chamber, you'd have to, because it's elimination style. That's not what these triple threat matches are. But man, I gotta tell you, I have to tell you, watching Dragon Lee dive off that barricade towards the end of the main event tonight with that ring bell to the anti-pop, it's the only way I can describe it. We talk about pops and big reactions that things get on these shows. This was the anti-pop. Like, nobody cared. It was sad. It was very sad, but the fans were very happy to see Javon win. I was very happy to see Javon win. He's not going to win the Chamber, of course, but it'll be more fun with him in it than it would be without him in there. So I did like the result of the main event. Asuka in the other qualifying match advances to the Elimination Chamber. So basically the same people I told you last week who I thought were going to win this week, those are the people who are going to the Chamber. But the other thing on this show, and honestly, a lot of everything I'm going to be talking about here tonight, and we'll go through it, segment by segment. CM Punk, another promo segment. It's been one of the highlights of Raw over the last several weeks on the microphone. Tonight was the weakest of the bunch. It wasn't bad, but even the AJ Lee promo. She had a promo segment with Becky Lynch to build up their Intercontinental title match at Elimination Chamber. Nothing great. Not a lot of excitement on this show. And you're noticing it with the crowds. You can't just say that, oh, it's this city, it's that city. There's a pattern developing here, where in a lot of these cities, these people are sitting on their hands. It's very noticeable. So it's not just me sitting here saying, oh, this was a boring show. I mean, these people they're sitting on their hands and they're as quiet as can be because they're not being given anything to get terribly excited about. And it is something that I've noticed over the last few weeks here on the show. But there was a segment tonight where there was a giant crate sitting in the back. It reminded me, if you ever remember the movie Creepshow, The Crate, our good friend Fluffy. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I would love it if Fluffy came out of that damn crate. Went right after the creative team. Oh, that would be great. Just take them all out. Yes, there was a crate that was delivered backstage to Adam Pearce that had a message on it saying, do not open until February 28th, which happens to be the same date as the Elimination Chamber. So now there's a big mystery on this show. And I have noticed that Triple H is very reliant on mysteries. In fact, tonight on this show, we had two different mystery angles in back-to-back segments. We have the Mystery Man, and we have the Mystery Crate. He loves his mysteries. So we have to wait until the Elimination Chamber now to find out what's inside this crate. We'll talk about the crate. One person who I do not expect to be busting out of said crate is Brock Lesnar. He was not on the show tonight, but He is being advertised for the show in Atlanta next week. He'll be back on that show. And AJ Styles is going to be there because they're going to pay tribute to the phenomenal one. His career, they're going to have a retirement tribute next week on the show to AJ Styles. So what does this mean? Does this mean that he and WWE came to a new deal for him to stick with the company? Or is it an attempt on WWE's part to do everything in its power to make sure that AJ does not leave and does not go somewhere else because they feel like there's a chance he might? Sure got that impression listening to him when he was on the podcast with Stephanie McMahon, and he did not shut the door to getting back in the ring in the future. So those two will be on the show next week. I wish they were on the show this week because then maybe the show would have been a little more interesting. Unfortunately for me, this episode of Raw gets a thumbs down. But we will talk about the good, the bad, and everything in between. This is your Raw on Netflix review. It is Monday night. It is February 16th, 2026. Maybe the crate is AJ's coffin. AJ is alive and well. His career, not so much, but his career is alive. And we'll talk about the crate. We'll talk about everything here. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open. I do believe we need about 20 new channel members to have the ability to unlock trading card in the world week by the masked man. Bitch. Knight suggested to Adam Pearce, hey, why don't you make a 6-man tag team match tonight? I'll gladly force or face within the vision here with Bronson Reed, right behind him. But Braun Breaker is the one who really was being positioned as the guy in the vision, right? Even before the Royal Rumble, it was Logan Paul who stood up and said, hey, I think all of us should basically sacrifice ourselves to make sure that Braun Breaker wins the Royal Rumble. It was pretty clear who the de facto face of the faction was. Well, now he's hurt. He had hernia surgery. We don't know when Braun Breaker is going to be back. Probably not before WrestleMania. And so it felt like now they were positioning Logan as the guy in that spot, which I guess makes sense because the dude just sold a trading card for $16 million. He probably should be leading this group. $16 million, by the way, and still curtain jerking and wrestling in the opening match. And that's all it is. It was from Meltzer in The Observer. Repeat with this shit. Stop me if you've heard this before. I don't know why we are still sitting here and why we are watching LA Knight and the Usos still after all this time feuding with the Vision. I want to know, why are we still seeing these matches with these same people playing out here on this show over and over and over again? If you want any evidence of how stagnant WWE creative is right now, I give you Exhibit A. The fact that we are still seeing LA Knight and the Usos feuding with the Vision. Do you realize how long LA Knight has been feuding with the Vision for? The first time that he started getting into the ring with members of the Vision, you can go all the way back to Money in the Bank time. June of last year, Money in the Bank. It is now almost Elimination Chamber. He is still feuding with the Vision, and he's certainly no better off for it. But this is still going on. 8 months, 9 months. I mean, it's almost like there's not a creative thought in their head when it comes to some of these people. And I just realized something here. If that match happens at WrestleMania, I was going to sit here and say, well, at least if he wrestles Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, at least it's someone different, right? But technically, if he were to wrestle Brock Lesnar, would Brock Lesnar not be technically considered part of the Vision? He would still be working with the Vision. Fuck! Anyway, this was just the opening segment. My God, I'm not gonna make it through this review. Next week, they made the announcement that we are gonna get two more qualifying matches, the final two, I guess, for the Elimination Chamber matches. Bronson Reed, Jey Uso, and El Grande Americano Gable. That's the men's chamber eliminated or qualifier. The women's is going to include Io Sky, Raquel Rodriguez, and Kairi Sane. Now, I feel, looking at who's in these matches here, I feel like, why wouldn't you want Io Sky in that match? Rhea Ripley's already qualified. Io should certainly have a match on the show. Outside of just the kind of a throwaway comment she made on SmackDown Friday night about how, I should challenge Julia for the United States Championship, unless that's what they're planning on doing. There's no other role for her on the show. Of course you want to have Io Sky in that match. The only thing that's preventing me from being certain that Io Sky will be in that match, if you look at who's qualified so far for the Women's Chamber, outside of Asuka, who qualified later on in this show, it's all baby faces. Like, if Charlotte Flair wins her match on Friday over Nia Jax and Kiana, they pry the box open and started using, like, it blood. So the way Rusev was glaring back at him gave you the impression that maybe...
Also get you an old school Deluxe Man t-shirt. Get you a new school Alex Well t-shirt and all that makes him the best in the world. CM Punk, which Coast is my brother Frankie D over here. So he's 41 today, and I gotta give a very special shout out and happy birthday to my guy Jesse. Tekla, Shuttown Smark. It's his birthday today. Apparently he did a Hot Ones contest on his stream tonight. I am hearing murmurs and rumors that he didn't fare too well. And I want to wish, all joking aside, Jesse a very happy birthday. Jesse's been with me since the absolute very beginning, and he has not only become a partner on Wednesday nights, he's become a very close friend of mine. In all seriousness, when people get older, and I'm experiencing this firsthand, the less and less people actually give a shit about you. Jesse seemingly is always there no matter what, and always has his phone open whenever I need him. For anything legitimately, he's always been there. And I want to wish him a very happy birthday, and he's one of the best people I know. And he's my partner on Wednesday nights, and we're going to keep killing it on Wednesday nights. So, brother, happy birthday. We love you. And hopefully you have a great, great day today. And celebrate the fucking week, man. Enjoy yourself, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Monday Night Raw. You know, I'm still waiting for WWE to light the spark. Talk about how these shows are uninspired. WWE has not lit the spark yet for WrestleMania season. A very uninspired Royal Rumble. Which, honestly, the Royal Rumble has largely been uninspired for many, many years. WWE just doesn't give the same amount of attention or build or hype or importance to the Royal Rumble. It almost seems like an afterthought. It almost seems like it's a burden on WWE. And normally you get the excitement of WrestleMania coming out of the Royal Rumble. We didn't get that this year. Might have been the location, it might have been the predictable winners. The fact that nothing really major happened at the show. Largely a fail. So they're stepping up to the plate once again for a second at bat with the Elimination Chamber. And I want to preface this and say that the shows aren't bad. Like, we've seen bad shows. It just has no life to it. And I feel like a broken record every single week. There's no life to it. These shows are boring. These shows are safe. These shows don't do anything outside the norm. It's 2.5 hours, if that, 2 hours and 20 minutes of television every Monday. And you largely don't get anything exciting. It's the same matchups over and over again. There's nothing really to sink your teeth into. I feel like it should be mandatory for these shows to have one big, overlapping story that drives interest, that drives intrigue to the story that they're telling. And we haven't been able to get that for many, many, many years now. As soon as Roman Reigns and the Bloodline hit its peak, it just went downhill after WrestleMania 40. And a lot of what happened during the build to WrestleMania 40 happened by happenstance. Happened because certain people wanted certain things to go certain ways, and everything was born out of a mistake. And then we ended up getting...
Well, their car keys, they've been modified so that they're cancel fighters.
It's so self that come into this path and into you and really need you.
Hey, the season is supposed to feel big. WrestleMania season is supposed to feel unpredictable. WrestleMania season should be volatile, chaotic, hectic, exciting. I get none of those words. The definitions for those words, I feel nothing anywhere close to those words that I gave. WWE should be telling stories, chat. And the biggest thing that we got coming out of tonight's show, and the biggest thing that people will be talking about for the next 12 days or so before we get to the Elimination Chamber, is who's in the fucking box. They should put this fucking show in the box and bury it 6 feet fucking under. That's what they should do. Who's in the box? Adam Pearce got a box large enough to hold a human being. Delivered to Monday Night Raw, and on the box it said, please do not open until February 28th, 2026, which is conveniently the Elimination Chamber in Chicago. Who's in the fucking box? Let me guess, another fucking monument of predictable Paul Levesque, where he can wheel out a statue of himself so he can admire himself every fucking Monday and every Friday for a job well done, because the fan base is seemingly not admiring his work. Who's in the fucking box? I'm in the box. No, I'm not. We're gonna go over what you guys said in regards to who's in the box before I give my real opinion on who's in the box. Just gonna let you know a certain somebody that has a list and a countdown clock debuted show tonight, coming into tonight's show, had to do with the Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. The main event saw Javon Evans, Dominic Mysterio, and Gunther in a triple threat match to see who advances to the Elimination Chamber. I think everybody watching the show realized that if they put Gunther inside the Elimination Chamber, that would be creative malpractice. Why would they do that? I'm glad that they realized that if they put Gunther in the Elimination Chamber, there was only one way for him to leave. And that is by winning the chamber, which nobody wants to see happen. The other way for him to leave the chamber is by taking a pinfall or submission, because there's legitimately no other way out of that cage if you're not winning it. And that's something that we should not be doing at all with Gunther. He beat John Cena. He retired AJ Styles. I don't think we need to beat Gunther or put him in a position to lose to anybody. The one big predictable thing that I think a lot of people saw coming, and we talked about this, is the return of Dragon Lee. Now, Dragon Lee's been off the television show selling a vicious attack by Gunther where he basically hung him over the ropes and choked him the fuck out a couple of weeks ago. Dragon Lee sold the shit out of it. But I think everybody watching the show thought that Dragon Lee was going to come back and help aid Gunther in not advancing to the Elimination Chamber, which is exactly what they did. Predictable, but it was the right outcome. Gunther did not advance. Predictable Paul actually wrote the script for Javon Evans to advance to the Elimination Chamber in Chicago, which I think is the best move. Javon Evans inside a chamber doing an OG cutter off one of the pods. You're going to get it, you're going to see it happen, and it's going to wow Chicago. That's the right move. Plus, you want to build for the future. They got Obafemi feuding with fucking Kit Wilson on Friday night. They got Obafemi showing up on Monday Night Raw, looking at contracts and looking all sharp and nicely dressed. Where the fuck is Obafemi? Honestly. We're going into the legitimate road to WrestleMania, and Obafemi is still contemplating what brand he wants to sign to. We'll get into that in a little bit. But you need to start building for the future. Javon Evans is that guy. Obafemi is that guy. When it comes to the ladies, Sol Ruka, Kendall Gray, who I adore. She's great. You guys know that WWE needs to build for the future. And I feel like this is a great starting point. Get him in there, get him some seasoning in a match like this, get him in there with some big guns, and I think he will rise to the occasion. That's the right way to go about it. Gunther is now out. Now, the story here is Dragon Lee. I'm assuming Gunther's going to request a match with Dragon Lee. I'm assuming Gunther's going to destroy Dragon Lee. And I'm assuming that Gunther's WrestleMania match is going to end up being Rey Mysterio. That's what I think is going to happen. Gunther versus Rey Mysterio. Now, whether you like that or not, I don't really know. I don't mind it. But I can see why some people would be upset about it, because coming out of a match with John Cena and then retiring AJ Styles and then going into WrestleMania against somebody like Rey Mysterio might seem like a downgrade to you, might be a little disappointing to you, but I sense that this is where they are going. I pitched Randy Orton. Randy Orton versus Gunther, career killer versus legend killer. We talked about Chris Jericho already being back. Maybe he challenges Gunther. Maybe it's not even Rey Mysterio. WWE has this tribute to AJ Styles next week, being that Monday Night Raw in Atlanta. Is AJ Styles going to come back and maybe get a WrestleMania match with Gunther under a certain lights out stipulation? Maybe it will be a non-sanctioned match. and he gets his win back over Gunther, which I would not be in favor of, by the way. He already retired AJ Styles. There's no reason to put someone like AJ Styles over if he's not going to come back and wrestle. Who knows what WWE's got planned? But by all accounts, and by what we see so far, it is certainly looking like Gunther versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. Oh, but JD, what about Brock Lesnar? Don't worry about Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar should be occupied elsewhere. And he should not be occupied with Gunther at WrestleMania. You could save that for SummerSlam. So Gunther, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee's involved, cost in the chamber. I'm assuming this is where they are going. Javon Evans is the right one. CM Punk. Another great night on the microphone for CM Punk. I felt like he is just firing on all cylinders. He's had a great year so far. He's defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor at the Elimination Chamber in Chicago. He gave Balor a world title match in Belfast, Ireland. He beat Balor in his home country. And now Balor wants another shot at the title, this time on Punk's turf. The thing is, Balor is now back with his boys. We saw Dominic Mysterio come out with Finn Balor, and we saw the return of J.D. McDonough. He's back, he's looking great, he's back in the Judgment Day. This is not about Balor winning the title. It never was about Balor winning the title. They planted even more seeds and more dissension between the Judgment Day tonight because CM Punk brought the truth bombs to Finn Balor. No matter how much Finn Balor wants to say that he's the best in the world, even better than CM Punk, he can go out there and claim that he wrestled in Japan and he trained in the dojos and he beat Roman Reigns on his first night out and he won the Universal Championship and became the first ever Universal Champion. Had to give it up 24 hours later, but he was the first ever Universal Champion. He claimed to CM Punk that he did all that, and all that makes him the best in the world. CM Punk quietly said, "You know what the difference between you then and you now is? You then did that all on your own. Meanwhile, you hang around these two fools in Dominic Mysterio and J.D. McDonough, and they have done nothing but bring you down to their level instead of you being elevated. You've sunk down to their level. You've done nothing on your own." Once again, Balor looks at Punk, assesses the situation. He's 3-on-1 against Punk here tonight, and he didn't lift a fucking finger. McDonough wanted to lay him out right there. Dominic wanted to lay him out right there. They could have given Finn Balor a nice opportunity, a good head start going into the chamber by weakening CM Punk tonight. They let him live. They let him walk. McDonough was pissed. Balor did not want anything to happen to Punk. He just stood there contemplating the words that CM Punk said. So we got tension in the Judgment Day. We got Balor once again rattled by CM Punk. And Balor wanting to do this on his own. Balor is not looking out for the Judgment Day. Balor is looking out for himself. Balor is not looking to make the Judgment Day better. Balor is looking to make himself better. J.D. McDonough sees it. Dominic sees it. The ladies will eventually see it, if not already. Balor is walking a very thin line in the Judgment Day. And when he loses at the Elimination Chamber and does not become the World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk will be the catalyst for Finn Balor getting removed from the Judgment Day, which I hope in turn will give us Finn Balor the Demon versus Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. This is not about the World Heavyweight Championship. Nobody believes CM Punk is going to drop the World Heavyweight Championship after they just announced one of the biggest WrestleMania main events that the company could ever do, with CM Punk and Roman Reigns main eventing night 2. It's not about Finn Balor and the WWE World Heavyweight title. It's about Balor being removed from the Judgment Day. It's about Balor finally getting that creative, and Balor getting a push on his own. This has been going on for far too long. Plus, the Intercontinental Championship desperately needs to go to somebody else because Dominic hasn't defended the title at all in the last 2 months. The story is simple enough to tell. The story is there. The story is about Balor. The story is not about Punk. Punk is obviously the WWE Champion, or the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. But Punk is also obviously a background player here. He's not the star of this storyline. Finn Balor is. It's all about him. And I hope that WWE and I hope that Triple H has something creatively good to come out of the chamber. We can't just have Balor lose on to the next. Like, we need something to happen. We need a turning point at the Elimination Chamber. We need something as far as where does this story go next? We need to physically turn that page. We just can't wait. And that's what I feel like WWE is doing. We're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting because WrestleMania once again is stretched out for an extra 2 weeks. April 18, April 19. I feel like WWE last year had one of the worst road to WrestleManias ever. It was too long, they waited, and there wasn't enough moment. They didn't give us enough moments to really get us excited. And I feel like we're going to get more of the same because WrestleMania is again stretched out by an extra 2 weeks. I'm very much missing an early April or late March WrestleMania where WWE has a smaller, compact schedule. And they don't have all this time. I feel like it's actually hurting us, the fans, because WWE and Triple H in this case, he loves to wait. He loves to stretch that rubber band so far before it breaks. Don't ever get to that point. Something needs to happen there. And CM Punk, he will be in the main event of WrestleMania with Roman Reigns. It's not going to be Finn Balor. We're going to go over the rest of this show. Punk Balor had a very good segment. Stephanie Vicaire and Liv Morgan had a very weird segment. Sit down with Michael Cole, that Stephanie Vicaire kind of barged in on and interrupted, and she didn't speak one single word of English. So WWE did a horrible job of translating what was actually said here, and at this point, I don't know what was said. All we ended up getting is Liv Morgan crying. 2 Elimination Chamber matches. We already talked about Javon Evans getting in. The ladies had one with Natalya, Bayley, and Asuka. And we got a new #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship, as Dominic Mysterio hopefully will soon defend that championship and lose that championship. Because I said before, I'm going to say it again, it desperately needs to go to somebody else because Dominic ain't doing a single thing with it. Plus, we'll go over the box, the mystery of this crate that WWE had delivered to Adam Pearce tonight that apparently WWE cannot open until the Elimination Chamber. And we'll go over Logan Paul. And apparently this Pikachu, yes, this Pikachu Pokemon card scam that Logan Paul apparently is being accused of. We'll go over all this tonight right here on Off the Script. This is your Monday Night Raw review for February 16th, 2026. Thank you guys very much for joining me. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. We are yells out, "Cut the damn music," after several ignored attempts. Heyman says as he walked onto the stage with Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Austin Theory, Theory said every ounce of wisdom Heyman has is worth more than the most valuable trading card in the world. He said he just traded it for $16 million and said none of the fans will see that in their lives. Well, apparently, according to some of the people that bought pieces of this investment, they also feel that they're not going to see their money that they put into this thing either. I'll get into that in a second. They walked to ringside. Logan Paul took some shots at Memphis, Tennessee. Heyman threw a clip of the mysterious masked individual causing chaos. WWE using AI-generated creative. Bro, this is the... for Liquid Marketplace and Logan Paul. Liquid Marketplace slowed. It went offline. Users couldn't withdraw any funds. Enter regulatory heat. The Ontario Securities Commission, the OSC, sued in June 2024, alleging multi-layered fraud, including unregistered security sales and misleading claims about ownership/insurance. Paul isn't a defendant. He claims no involvement. In May 2024, Logan Paul brought back all fractional shares for the original price, $270,000 total. That Logan Paul bedazzled with yellow and white jewels, a completely decked out, blinged out Pokeball. It's the same thing he wore at WrestleMania when we first seen him. He made a big deal about it. I don't know. I hope he followed the rules. I hope that he is in the clear, because that doesn't sound good at all. That doesn't sound good at all. But again, I'm just going to reiterate, if you did business with him knowing about his shady history and his shady past, you have nobody to blame but yourself. So that's the story going on with the Pokemon card. Let me know what you guys think about that. But we got this LA Knight and Usos tag team here, 6-man tag team match against Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and Bronson Reed. More of the same. There's legitimately nothing that I could add to this to make it sound any better. It is the same thing that you've been seeing between the same cast of characters for the last 11 months. Literally nothing different. All I'll say in addition to this is, can we get Jey Uso to stop doing the spear? Like, legitimately. Like, Jey Uso has to retire his version of the spear. Bro, Jey Uso may have the worst fucking spear in the history of the business. Bro, if you're not gonna do a spear, and do it the way that it's intended, with everybody that did a spear and adopted the spear as a move before you, then don't do it. Every time I look at Jey Uso's spear, I look at someone who does not want to spear. I look at somebody that doesn't like the impact of the move. The impact.
Honest, clean conscience diapers have up to 100% leak protection, a comfortable fit, and material.
And it looks like and feels like he's spearing his son in a pillow fight. Maybe we need to cut the move from his repertoire. And I'm going to be mentioning this every single time that we see it, because we mentioned Charlotte Flair. How many times did we mention Charlotte Flair doing that fucking horrendous moonsault to the outside, where everybody would brag about, oh my God, what a super athlete Charlotte Flair is. I don't know what the fuck you're watching, but what I watch is someone miss a whole move completely. Every time Charlotte jumped off the top rope, she'd graze somebody, like someone's brushing their hair away from their eyes. Just barely grazing somebody. Let's get rid of it. It's fucking awful. Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory win. Apparently, we got a 1D to Logan. After stereo super kicks by the Yeet Men, Reed broke up the cover. Reed dove through the ropes on the Usos with a suicide dive, which was great. He then threw Jimmy into the ring. Logan punched him, tagged in Reed. Reed landed a tsunami, and that was enough for the win. So Bronson Reed, the story of this match is Bronson Reed pinned one half of the tag team champions in the Usos. He pinned Jimmy Uso. So I'm assuming that we are going to get at some point the Usos defending the tag team championships against Bronson Reed and Logan Paul. Or Bronson Reed and Austin Theory, whichever version of the vision they decide upon. And it will be at that point that the masked man will interject himself again, cost the Vision the tag team championships, and then reveal himself to be Seth Rollins. Now I figured we'd do that at the Chamber, which we very well still could get, but it was more likely to happen if Braun Breaker was in the Chamber. I am not so sure now if it will be in the Chamber, because I'm not really sure if anybody in the Vision will be in the Chamber. But now they seemingly, it feels like, diverted plans from away with the Vision away from the Chamber and maybe into a tag team title program with the Usos, and them getting the match with the Usos only for the masked man, Seth, to unmask himself and reveal himself that he is Seth Rollins. And then whatever happens at WrestleMania, happens at WrestleMania. The masked man was chased into the crowd because he did show his face here. Logan yanked the headset off Michael Cole, and he said they just watched the Vision go to work. The man in the black mask showed up again and stomped Logan Paul on the table. Theory and Reed went after him. He fled through the crowd. Heyman yelled up at him, said, "Come on, you bitch! Come on!" I think Paul Heyman knows who it is. But I legitimately thought we were going to get the unmasking right there, because the masked man ran away. Nobody chased after him like they did last week. He went up through the stairs in the crowd, and he turned around. I thought he was going to unmask himself tonight. Whatever they are doing with this angle, they need to end it soon. Like, I'm talking legitimately over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Like, that Monday after the Chamber, we need to know who the fuck this is. This cannot go on any longer. We've seen this masked man thing for months now. They're running the same angle again. For how many weeks? On top of that, LA Knight and the Usos battling the Vision seemingly every fucking week. With a merry band of baby faces, mix and match, over the last 11 months. Bro, at this point, I doubt that there's anybody that even gives a shit who the masked man is, let alone it being Seth Rollins. Like, I think everybody realizes it's Seth Rollins. If they're still running the angle, it's going to be Seth Rollins. If they didn't want it to be Seth Rollins, or didn't want it to be a featured part of this fucking story, they would have dropped it as soon as Braun Breaker got hurt. But I'm assuming Rollins is going to be back for WrestleMania. I'm assuming he was always planned to be back for WrestleMania. And all because Braun Breaker got hurt, I'm sure Rollins was working his way back for WrestleMania. They're not just going to drop it. They need some sort of diversion. Another plan. Whatever that may be. I know people are talking about Bad Bunny. WWE would love Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. They need to sell an extra 10,000 tickets each night to get back to where they were last year at this time. Announcing Bad Bunny wrestling in WrestleMania, that's something TKO probably is foaming at the mouth for. I'm sure Nick Khan is praying at bedside every fucking night for Bad Bunny to be back at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's going to be the case. You could take Bad Bunny and play off the whole Super Bowl thing where Logan Paul was asked if he was going to watch Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance, halftime performance. He said no. I know people are fantasy booking Seth Rollins potentially teaming with Bad Bunny at WrestleMania in a diversion away from what the original plan was between Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, because that's the only thing that made sense. If Bad Bunny is back, Bad Bunny and Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul and Bronson Reed. To me, that's a suitable WrestleMania replacement, but only if Bad Bunny is back. If Rollins is coming back and there is no Bad Bunny, unfortunately, you're probably going to get Seth Rollins and LA Knight versus Bronson Reed and Logan Paul. And that doesn't really scream WrestleMania to me. That screams bathroom break. But at least Rollins will have worked his way back to WWE and made it back for WrestleMania. Braun Breaker couldn't have been injured at the worst fucking time. This was horrible. And the vision may be cursed. Genuinely. Rollins is out. Braun Breaker's out. Again, I don't know where they go for WrestleMania, but Bad Bunny would certainly be interesting. Bad Bunny would certainly inject some fucking life into this, because Logan Paul, he sold the shit out of that Jelly Roll match going into SummerSlam. Imagine what he would do with someone like Bad Bunny, who actually trained to wrestle and put on a great fucking performance the few times that he was in there. You know, Logan Paul said it would be one of the biggest WrestleMania moments of all time. I'm not even doubting it. I think that'd be fucking great. WWE's got their work cut out for them. I don't know what they're going to do. But LA Knight, the rumor is LA Knight and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Who the fuck came up with that? Now, it scares the living shit out of me that Meltzer was the one who reported that, because if you remember, who eliminated that I made a big fucking deal about, and I don't understand why they didn't really make it a bigger deal or paint a bigger picture. You do realize who eliminated Brock Lesnar from the Royal Rumble, correct? Yep.
You're looking at me for the first time. You're so weird. I'm so scared. What did you forget?
From the Royal during Jey Uso's entrance. Now, Jey Uso, see, this is where I am hopeful we are not going in that direction. LA Knight's already in the chamber. Now, before tonight, we got advertisements that Brock Lesnar is going to be booked for the show next week in Atlanta. To do what, I don't know. What are they bringing him to Atlanta for? People were claiming that he's going to declare for the Elimination Chamber, and that he'd be in the Elimination Chamber on behalf of the Vision and Paul Heyman to throw it right back in Adam Pearce's face, fuck around and find out. He'd be in the chamber with LA Knight, he'd set up the match for LA Knight, and himself at WrestleMania, and we're off to the races. Brock Lesnar versus LA Knight at WrestleMania, which probably would be a bloodbath if you're an LA Knight fan. That's not going to bode well for LA Knight. Good luck with that one. Brock Lesnar would never be laying down for LA Knight, which I pray to God is not the direction. But LA Knight, along with Cody, did eliminate Brock Lesnar from the Royal Rumble. I don't think that they are going in that direction. I think LA Knight very much wants to get revenge on Bronson Reed for what they did to him. They put him out for 2 months. They tsunamied him on top of that car 2 months ago. Seth Rollins will be back. They got a common enemy. They don't like each other, but they have to work with each other to take out the common enemy. LA Knight wants revenge. Rollins wants revenge for being booted out of his own group. At least it makes sense. LA Knight and Brock Lesnar does not make any sense whatsoever, at all. And if you wanted to set something up for WrestleMania with Brock Lesnar, it should have been Obafemi in the Royal Rumble, which they did not even attempt to do. Now, what I'm hoping for next week is none of what I talked about. I want no instance at all where LA Knight and Brock Lesnar cross paths next week. Brock Lesnar is advertised for the show next week. Obafemi has had these different segments. Friday, he had a segment. Nick Aldis offered him a contract. He's wrestling Kit Wilson on SmackDown next week. I don't know why. You got Obafemi on the main roster during WrestleMania season, and you have him wrestling Kit fucking Wilson. That shit needs to die, or someone needs to get fucking fired from the SmackDown writing team. Tonight he was on Raw. Adam Pearce offered him a contract, said it blew Nick Aldis' contract away. Mine's a better deal. He takes it, he's gonna think about it. Before he leaves, Rusev stares him down for a good 10 seconds. We got Rusev and Obafemi. Potential match at some point, not at WrestleMania. He's going to contemplate this contract again on Friday. Because this is their idea of storytelling. He's going to contemplate that contract again on Friday, and he's going to contemplate it again on Monday. But when he does, he's going to run across Brock Lesnar. And I do think this is predictable Paul we're talking about. This is Sesame Street Levesque we're talking about here. The fact that I'm saying this may go against everything that we know him to be. I'm giving him a sliver of a chance here. I think next week, Obafemi comes across Brock Lesnar, and I think we get a tease for Brock Lesnar and Obafemi at WrestleMania. And I think Brock Lesnar's the catalyst that has Obafemi sign that Monday Night Raw contract, because let's be real, Brock Lesnar's never going to Friday Night SmackDown. Who the fuck wants to be over there? Everybody wants to be on Netflix. Netflix wants Lesnar. Netflix is going to get what they want. Lesnar, Femi, we get a big tease next week. WrestleMania, I do believe it's happening. I do. Not only do I do believe it's happening, I think it's the best match that you could do right now, because I know a lot of people are looking at maybe it's Lesnar and Gunther. No, they'll save that for SummerSlam. They will save that for SummerSlam. Minneapolis is getting SummerSlam, and Lesnar's from Minneapolis, so they're doing that match there. That's a huge match. For Gunther to go over Lesnar in Minneapolis, that's where you do it. For Obafemi to get a match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, he beats Brock Lesnar and a star is born immediately, which is something this company desperately needs. I don't want to hear anything about it. LA Knight, Seth Rollins against Logan Paul and Bronson Reed. Because Braun Breaker's not going to be back. I'm assuming he won't be back for WrestleMania. Rey Mysterio versus Gunther. After what we saw tonight, Dragon Lee attacked Gunther, cost him a spot in the chamber. He's going to destroy Dragon Lee whenever they make that one-on-one match, and out comes Rey Mysterio. That's what I think we're getting. And then Obafemi, Brock Lesnar. Now, I don't know what the whole story is revolving around Triple H getting backstage heat, or people are upset about plans changing. Bro, in no instance whatsoever did I stutter on anything that I said. Why is it so easy for me to pinpoint these things and make sense of them? I mean, if I was sitting at that creative table and I went over this to Triple H, I doubt there's any way that he would say no to anything I just said. That sounds like a great WrestleMania plan and direction. Let's do it. That's what I feel like they're going for here with WrestleMania. Now, again, we don't know. I tend to think that sometimes what I say is the best, and what we actually get is fucking worse. They may think something completely different. I don't know. I hope I'm right in this. I hope I'm right. What Jericho does, if Jericho is in the box, I don't know. We mentioned Jericho and LA Knight. I don't know what Jericho has to do with LA Knight. Maybe Jericho wrestles somebody else that we're not really thinking of. doesn't have a WrestleMania match at all. I don't see why that would be the case if he's going to be back 8 weeks before WrestleMania. The story of the match is Bronson Reed and Logan Paul beat the tag team champions. Well, Bronson Reed, pinned Jimmy Uso, who's one half of the tag team champions. So I'm assuming we're going to get a tag team title match between the Vision and the Usos because there are no other fucking teams in the division. They're all out of tag teams. In the back, Adam Pearce came upon a huge crate. Speaking of the crate, the huge crate is staring at Adam Pearce. Delivered to WWE, do not open until 2/28/26. The worker said he hadn't opened it after Adam Pearce asked him if he did. Pearce told him to put the crate, the box, back on the truck, send it to SmackDown for Nick Aldis to deal with. All of a sudden, El Grande Americano Kaiser and Los Americanos confronted Adam Pearce over the original El Grande Americano getting a spot in the qualifying match next week for the Elimination Chamber. He's in there with Jey Uso and Bronson Reed. Which, if we are to guess, that would be the last Chamber qualifier match because I'm assuming we're going to get one on Friday, which I think was announced, with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams being a part of that match. So the Elimination Chamber men's side is going to be completely filled by the time we get to Monday Night Raw. So Brock Lesnar more than likely will not be in the Chamber. So El Grande asks for an Intercontinental title match instead. Adam Pearce says, well, I can't give you one because we got plans coming up for that, but I can give you a chance to earn one. Now, I did ask you guys on social media, which we're going to have fun with tonight, and we're going to go over some of your replies in regards to the crate. If I could find it. Let's see. Here we go. There you go. I asked on Twitter, who's in the crate? Wrong answers only. You guys replied 596 times. James says, announcement of a new era written in double space to make it longer, to make it look more important. The return of the Spirit Squad, says Paul L. Chris says, Triple H's 2024 Booker of the Year Award. Average Gamer says, Royce Keys. Zach says, the Repo Man is in the cage. Someone says, WWE is bringing back $9.99. That's what's in the crate.
Alright, I'm gonna end the video. Until next time, hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, thank you for all the support. I'll see y'all later. Until next time, I made it long enough.